Imagine an empire that lasted over 600 years, spanning 3 continents, and controlling one of the most valuable trade crossroads on Earth. This was the Ottoman Empire. At its height, it stretched from the gates of Vienna to the deserts of Arabia, from North Africa to the shores of the Black Sea. It ruled over dozens of different peoples, religions, and languages. But this empire didn't begin as a superpower. It began as a small frontier state in Anatolia. In the late 1200s, a Turkish leader named Osman founded a small principality. His followers became known as the Ottomans, named after him. At the time, the region was fragmented and unstable. The once mighty Byzantine Empire was in decline. Osman and his successors saw an opportunity. They expanded steadily, absorbing smaller territories one by one. Within a few generations, the small Ottoman state had grown into a serious power. They crossed into Europe, capturing territory in the Balkans. Their military was becoming feared across the region, but one prize remained just out of reach: the city of Constantinople. For centuries, it had resisted every siege, protected by massive walls that no army had ever fully broken. Then, in 1453, a young sultan changed everything. His name was Mehmed II. He was only 21 years old. Mehmed assembled a massive army and an unprecedented arsenal of cannons. He built one of the largest siege weapons the world had ever seen. After weeks of relentless bombardment, the walls finally fell. Constantinople was conquered. Mehmed renamed Istanbul and made it his new capital. This conquest sent shockwaves across Europe. The Byzantine Empire, which had lasted over 1,000 years, was finished, and the Ottoman Empire now controlled one of the most important cities on Earth, a city connecting Europe and Asia. With Istanbul secured, Ottoman power exploded outward. Under later sultans, the empire expanded rapidly in every direction. They conquered Egypt, bringing the wealth of the Nile under Ottoman control. They took control of the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. This gave the Sultan enormous religious authority across the Islamic world. The empire pushed deep into Europe. Hungary fell under Ottoman control. By 1529, Ottoman armies stood at the gates of Vienna itself. Europe trembled at the thought of Ottoman expansion continuing further. Meanwhile, the empire reached its cultural and political peak under one remarkable ruler, Suleiman the Magnificent. Under his reign, the empire flourished like never before. Art, architecture, law, and literature reached extraordinary heights. Grand mosques were built with soaring domes and towering minarets. The legal system was reformed and unified. Suleiman personally oversaw laws affecting millions of people across 3 continents. Istanbul became one of the largest and wealthiest cities in the world. Merchants, scholars, and travelers from across the globe passed through its markets. But how did the Ottomans manage such a vast and diverse empire? The answer lay in their unique system of governance. Unlike many empires, the Ottomans allowed religious and ethnic communities significant autonomy. Christians, Jews, and Muslims lived under Ottoman rule with their own legal systems for local matters. This system, known as the millet system, helped maintain stability across diverse populations. The Ottomans also built one of history's most feared military forces, the Janissaries, an elite infantry corps originally recruited through a system of conscription from conquered territories. Trained from childhood, fiercely loyal and highly disciplined, they became the backbone of Ottoman military power for centuries. Trade was another pillar of Ottoman strength. Sitting at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa gave the empire enormous economic advantages. Goods flowing along the Silk Road and Mediterranean trade routes passed through Ottoman territory. Taxes and tariffs on this trade filled the imperial treasury. For over 2 centuries, the Ottoman Empire remained one of the most powerful states on Earth. But by the late 1600s, cracks began to appear. In 1683, a second siege of Vienna ended in failure. This marked a turning point. Ottoman military technology was falling behind European powers. European nations were industrializing and modernizing their armies. The Ottomans struggled to keep pace. Territory began slipping away piece by piece. Wars with Russia and Austria resulted in significant losses. Nationalist movements emerged within the empire's diverse territories. Groups in the Balkans and elsewhere began demanding independence. Corruption and internal power struggles further weakened central authority. By the 1800s, the empire was increasingly called the sick man of Europe. Still, the Ottomans attempted reforms. New laws, modernized institutions, and military reorganization tried to reverse the decline, but these efforts often came too late or faced fierce internal resistance. One by one, territories broke away. Greece gained independence. Serbia, Bulgaria, and other Balkan states followed. The empire that once stretched the gates of Vienna was shrinking rapidly. Then came the 20th century and the final blow. In 1914, the Ottoman Empire entered World War I, allied with Germany. The war proved catastrophic. Ottoman forces suffered devastating losses on multiple fronts. By 1918, the empire had been defeated. Its territories were divided among the victorious powers. The once mighty empire that had lasted 6 centuries was collapsing. In 1922, the Ottoman Sultanate was formally abolished. A new leader, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, rose to reshape what remained. In 1923, the Republic of Turkey was officially established. The Ottoman Empire, after 600 years, had come to an end, but its legacy remains deeply woven into the modern world. Istanbul remains one of the world's great cities, bridging 2 continents. Ottoman architecture still defines skylines across the Middle East and Balkans. Legal and administrative traditions influence the modern nations that emerge from its territory. Millions across former Ottoman lands still carry cultural and historical connections to this empire. For 600 years, the Ottomans built an empire spanning 3 continents. They conquered Constantinople when no one else could. They united diverse peoples under a single system for centuries. And when their empire finally fell, it reshaped the modern map of Europe and the Middle East forever. From a small frontier state in Anatolia to one of history's greatest empires, the Ottoman story is a reminder that even the mightiest powers eventually change, but their impact on history never truly disappears.